Welcome back everyone. Before we begin, I need to ask something from you. I'm a small channel trying to grow, and your support is the only thing that keeps these stories coming. If this story touches you, if it teaches you something, if it makes you feel anything, please hit that like button and subscribe. It costs you nothing but means everything to me. And drop a comment below. Your comment about what you do in Jack's situation might be the thing that helps someone else find their strength. Do you think Jack should forgive and give Melinda another chance? Your engagement helps this channel reach people who need to hear these stories. Don't just watch and leave, be part of this community. Now, let's get into it. My name is Jack Garcia, and the notification came at 5:45 a.m. while I was loading suitcases into my trunk. My phone lit up on the driver's seat with a text from my wife that stopped my heart mid-beat. Change of plans. Douglas is taking us to Disney instead. Don't try to find us. The girls need their real father. I read it 3 times, my hand frozen on the handle of a Mickey Mouse rolling bag I'd bought for Gloria. Same words each time. No apology, no warning, just a decision delivered like I was a service being cancelled. I stood there in the parking garage of Miami International Airport, watching other families load their cars with excitement and laughter, while mine drove away with a man who'd been gone for 6 years. So I closed the trunk, got in my car, and opened my banking app. If they wanted Douglas, they could have him. But they couldn't have my money anymore. I set the phone down on the passenger seat and stared at the concrete pillar in front of me. My hands were steady on the steering wheel. That surprised me. I thought I'd be shaking, crying, screaming. Instead, I just felt cold. Hollow. Done. I had woken up at 4 a.m. that morning, triple-checked the flight confirmations, packed the last-minute toiletries Melinda always forgot, grabbed the girls' favorite snacks, goldfish crackers for Gloria, trail mix for Lisa, and driven through empty Miami streets with my heart full of anticipation. This was supposed to be our trip. Our family vacation. The one I'd been planning since January, circling dates on the kitchen calendar with a red marker, calculating costs on a yellow legal pad late at night after everyone else had gone to bed. 7 months of double shifts at the logistics center. 7 months of skipping lunch to save an extra $10 a day. 7 months of saying yes to every overtime opportunity, every weekend shift, every holiday nobody else wanted. $4,800 in flights. Another $2,200 for the resort hotel with the character breakfast. Park tickets, dining plans, matching Mickey ear hats I'd already bought and wrapped. All of it paid for by me. All of it stolen by Douglas Frazier. The text was still glowing on my screen. I unlocked my phone and opened our joint bank account. The balance made my stomach drop. $347.82. 3 days ago, it had been $3,563.82. I scrolled through the transaction history. Yesterday afternoon, while I was at work loading shipping containers, withdrawal, $3,200. Douglas Frazier. Authorized user. I sat back against the seat, letting that sink in. Melinda had added him to our account. The account I funded. The account with my name first on every statement. She'd given him access, and he'd helped himself to 3 months of my overtime pay without asking, without warning, probably while laughing about how easy it was. I switched over to my email and pulled up the flight confirmations from Southwest Airlines. For tickets, purchased February 14th, Valentine's Day, because I'd thought it was romantic to book our family trip that day. Passenger 1, Jack Garcia. Passenger 2, Melinda Garcia. Passenger 3, Gloria Frazier, age 12. Passenger 4, Lisa Frazier, age 14. Confirmation code HX7K9M. Total charge to card ending in 4782, $4,847. My card. My sacrifice. Their vacation with someone else. I looked up through the windshield. The airport was waking up around me. Families hauling suitcases toward the terminal, kids bouncing with excitement, parents juggling coffee cups and boarding passes. A father walked past my car carrying a little girl on his shoulders while she waved a stuffed Minnie Mouse. They were probably going to the same place my family was. Except they were actually going together. Douglas Fraser. The name tasted bitter even thinking it. I'd never met the man, but I knew his story. According to Melinda, he'd disappeared when Gloria was 4 and Lisa was 6. No child support, no birthday cards, no Christmas calls. Just gone. Like fatherhood was a jacket he'd shrugged off and left in a closet somewhere. I'd been the one at every parent-teacher conference, every dance recital, every emergency room visit when Gloria broke her wrist during soccer practice. I'd been the one teaching Lisa to drive, staying up late helping her with algebra homework, talking her through her first heartbreak. But I wasn't their real father. Douglas was. And apparently, that was all that mattered. 4 months ago, Douglas had shown up at Lisa's 8th grade graduation ceremony. Just appeared out of nowhere in an expensive suit and designer sunglasses, all smiles and charm, acting like he'd been there the whole time. Melinda had cried. The girls had been cautiously excited. I'd stood there holding a bouquet of flowers I'd bought for Lisa, watching this stranger hug my daughters, and felt something crack inside my chest. Melinda called it closure. She said the girls needed to reconnect with their biological father. She said it was healthy, necessary, important for their development. I'd nodded and smiled and tried to be understanding because that's what I always did. I made myself smaller so everyone else could have more room. I pulled my laptop bag from the back seat and opened it on the passenger seat. Inside was a thin blue folder I'd prepared months ago when I first started planning this trip. Budget breakdown, daily itinerary, restaurant reservations, fast pass selections for the rides. Every detail organized with the same careful attention I gave to shipping manifests at work. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app again. My personal savings account, the one Melinda didn't have access to, showed $18,429.63. 5 years of emergency fund building, untouched. Below that was our joint checking, $347.82 and dropping. Next was the credit card I'd given Melinda for household expenses, current balance $4,293.19. I opened my email folders. There was one labeled Household, Recurring. I clicked it open. Page after page of automatic payment confirmations filled the screen. Rent for our 2-bedroom apartment in Coral Gables, my name on the lease, my bank account on autopay. Electric bill, water bill, internet, streaming services. Melinda's car insurance on the Honda Civic I'd co-signed for 3 years ago. Her gym membership at the fancy place with the juice bar. The girls' phone plan, unlimited data, latest iPhones. Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Spotify Family, Amazon Prime. Lisa's SAT prep course. Gloria's travel soccer team fees. I grabbed a pen from the center console and the back of an old receipt. I started writing. Not because I was angry, at least that's what I told myself, but because I needed to see it laid out. I needed confirmation of what I already knew in my gut. By the time I finished, I had counted 38 recurring monthly expenses. 38 bills. Every single one paid from my account. Every single one benefiting people who were currently on their way to Disney World with a man who'd contributed nothing for 6 years. My phone buzzed. Another text from Melinda. Jack, please don't be upset. The girls were so excited when Douglas suggested this. They've always wanted to know their real dad. You understand, right? This is important for them. We'll do a trip together another time. I promise. I stared at the message. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I typed out 5 different responses, each one angrier than the last, each one demanding explanations, respect, basic human decency. I deleted all of them. Finally, I just typed, have a safe trip. I didn't add anything else. No questions. No accusations. No begging them to reconsider. Just 4 words that said everything and nothing at once. I sent it, then immediately opened my contacts. First call, Bank of America customer service. It was 6:03 a.m. They opened at 6 o'clock. The line rang twice before a cheerful voice answered. Bank of America, this is Sandra. How can I help you today? I need to remove an authorized user from my checking account, I said. My voice was calm. Steady. Like I was ordering coffee instead of dismantling my entire life. Of course, sir. Can I have your account number? I rattled it off from memory. And the name of the authorized user you'd like to remove? Melinda Garcia. My wife. There was a pause. May I ask if there's a problem with the account, Mr. Garcia? No problem, I said, watching the sun start to rise over the terminal building. Just simplifying things. 10 minutes later, Melinda's access was gone. The representative confirmed it twice, asked if I was sure, then processed the removal. I thanked her and hung up. Next call, Chase Credit Card Services. I removed Melinda as an authorized user on the card ending in 4782. The one she'd been using for household expenses that somehow always included manicures and brunch with her sister. Third call, Verizon Wireless. Our family plan had 4 lines. Mine, Melinda's, Gloria's, Lisa's. The representative tried to talk me into just suspending the other 3 lines to save the numbers. I told her no. Cancel them completely. She hesitated, then said, Sir, that will disconnect service immediately for those numbers. Are you certain? I'm certain, I said. Process it now. By 7:30 a.m., I'd made 11 phone calls. Streaming services, subscriptions, insurance, memberships. Each one took less than 5 minutes. Each one felt like removing a weight I'd been carrying for so long I'd forgotten what it felt like to stand up straight. I opened my laptop and logged into our apartment portal. The lease agreement loaded on screen. Signed April 2019. Jack Garcia, primary leaseholder. Melinda's name appeared nowhere on the document. She'd moved in 6 months after I signed it, after her credit application was denied and the landlord suggested I just add her informally once we were married. I'd agreed because that's what I always did. I made things easier for everyone else. I clicked on the Contact Property Manager button and typed out a brief message. Subject line, Notice to Vacate. Body, effective immediately, I'm providing 30 days notice. Please let me know next steps for lease termination. I hit send before I could second guess myself. My phone rang. Melinda. I stared at her name on the screen, watched it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I declined the call and opened my contacts. I scrolled down to our Patricia Ruiz, family law attorney. A coworker had mentioned her 6 months ago during a lunch break when he was going through his divorce. I'd saved the number then, not knowing why. Maybe some part of me had known even back then. It was early, but her voicemail said she checked messages every morning. I left one. Ms. Ruiz, my name is Jack Garcia. I need to discuss my legal options regarding my marriage and my stepdaughters. Please call me back when you can. I ended the call, set my phone face down on the passenger seat, and finally allowed myself to feel it. The grief. The betrayal. The rage. It crashed over me in one overwhelming wave, and I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white, tears burning behind my eyes but refusing to fall. They'd left me. In an airport parking garage. With shopping bags full of gifts and a backpack full of snacks. They'd left me for a man who'd abandoned them, and they'd done it with my money. I drove home in silence. No radio, no podcasts, just the hum of tires on asphalt and my own breathing. The apartment felt wrong the moment I walked in. Too quiet. Too empty. The Disney countdown calendar still hung on the refrigerator, today's date circled in red with Gloria's handwriting, finally. 3 exclamation points and a smiley face. I walked to the kitchen table and opened my laptop. The household expenses folder was still up from earlier. I clicked into my credit card account and started scrolling through 3 months of charges. Starbucks, 5 times a week. Melinda's morning routine. Sephora, monthly trips that averaged $200. Target runs that somehow always hit $150. Uber Eats when she didn't feel like cooking, which was most nights I worked late. Every charge felt like evidence in a case I was building against myself. How had I funded this for so long without asking questions? I opened a new spreadsheet and started categorizing. Column A, service or subscription. Column B, monthly cost. Column C, beneficiary. By the time I reached row 38, the total at the bottom read $3,217 per month. $38,604 per year. That didn't include rent, which was another $1,800 monthly. I grabbed my phone and continued where I'd left off in the parking garage. Netflix, cancelled. Hulu, cancelled. Disney Plus, I paused on that one, thought about Gloria and Lisa watching Encanto for the 100th time, then clicked cancel anyway. Spotify Family Plan, cancelled. Amazon Prime, cancelled. Melinda's gym membership at Equinox, the one that cost $190 a month that she used maybe twice. Cancelled. Each cancellation came with a confirmation email. We're sorry to see you go. We're sorry to see you go. After the call, I walked through the apartment one more time. In the girls' shared bedroom, stuffed animals lined the shelves. Posters of pop stars and soccer players covered the walls. Lisa's desk still had her SAT prep books stacked neatly, the ones I'd bought her. Gloria's closet overflowed with the travel soccer uniforms I'd paid for every season. I didn't touch anything. This wasn't my space to pack up. This wasn't my life to dismantle. I'd just been renting a place in it. At 4 p.m., the young couple arrived with the property manager. They were in their late 20s, holding hands, excited about their first place together. They walked through asking questions about water pressure and parking spaces. We love it, the woman said, smiling at her partner. It feels like home. I nodded. It did for me too, once. They signed the new lease that evening. 3 days passed in silence. I called out sick from work and spent the time packing my belongings into cardboard boxes from the liquor store down the street. Clothes, books, my laptop, a few kitchen items that were actually mine. Everything fit into 12 boxes and 3 duffel bags. 7 years of my life reduced to what could fit in a storage unit. On day 4, my phone rang from an unknown Miami number. I almost didn't answer. Jack. It was Lisa. Her voice sounded small, younger than her 14 years. My phone still isn't working. Can you please turn it back on? I can't talk to anyone. I can't even post pictures. I leaned back against the stack of boxes in what used to be our living room. Your mother can set up a new plan for you, Lisa. Or Douglas can. But you always handled the phone stuff, she said, frustration creeping into her voice. Mom doesn't know how to do it, and Douglas says it's expensive. It is expensive, I agreed. Which is why I paid for it every month for the past 7 years. Silence on the other end. Then, quieter, this isn't fair, Jack. We didn't know Mom was going to do this. We didn't know she was going to tell you not to come. The lie sat heavy between us. I'd seen the group chat notifications. The excited messages about Dad's surprise. The planning. They'd known. Maybe they hadn't understood what it would mean for me, but they'd known. You knew, Lisa, I said, keeping my voice steady. You all knew. You just didn't think I'd do anything about it. We thought you'd understand, she whispered. We thought you'd be happy for us to get to know our real dad. There it was again. Real dad. As if 7 years of parent-teacher conferences, emergency room visits, teaching her to drive, helping with homework, being there every single day somehow didn't count as real. I hope you and Gloria have a wonderful time getting to know him, I said. But you'll do it on his dime, not mine. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. 2 hours later, Melinda called from a hotel phone. The caller ID showed a Disney resort. I answered on the last ring. You canceled the car insurance? She didn't even say hello. Her voice was tight, controlled rage. Douglas's car is illegal to drive now. We can't get anywhere. The insurance policy was for your Honda, I said. The one I've been paying for. Douglas's car was never on my policy. You know what I mean, she snapped. You had him listed as an occasional driver when he borrowed my car last month. Now he has no coverage. Then he should get his own insurance, I replied. Like an adult. Like a father who provides for his family. This is childish, Jack. We're stuck at this resort. The girls are miserable because they can't use their phones. Douglas is furious about the car situation. You're ruining this trip out of spite. I laughed. Actually laughed. The sound surprised even me. I'm ruining the trip. Melinda, you stole this vacation from me. You gave my seat to a man who walked away from his daughters 6 years ago and took $3,000 from our account to make it happen. But I'm the one ruining things. We can talk about this when I get back, she said, her tone shifting slightly. Softer now. Manipulative. We can figure this out like adults. You're just hurt right now. I understand. I'll save you the trouble, I said. When you get back, the apartment will have new tenants. Your things will be in storage. And you'll have divorce papers waiting for you. Figure out where you're staying, Melinda. Because it won't be with me. The silence on her end stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. You can't be serious, she finally said. Enjoy Disney World, I replied. I hear the fireworks at Magic Kingdom are beautiful. I ended the call and blocked her number. Then I blocked the hotel's number. Then I blocked every number they'd called from. The silence that followed felt like the first deep breath I'd taken in 7 years. 2 weeks later, they came home. I wasn't there to see it, but I heard about it from the property manager who called me while I was loading the last of my boxes into a U-Haul. Mr. Garcia, I wanted to let you know there was an incident this morning, she said carefully. Your former family arrived at the unit and were quite upset to find the new tenants moving in furniture. I'm sorry they bothered you, I said. I sent multiple texts to my wife's email letting her know about the move. Oh, I'm not calling to complain, she said quickly. I just wanted you to know that the woman, Melinda, she asked where she could find you. I told her I wasn't at liberty to share forwarding information. She seemed quite distressed. Thank you for protecting my privacy. Of course. Also, she mentioned that her car was parked in the resident lot. Should I have it towed? I thought about the Honda Civic with the dented bumper I'd helped her pick out 3 years ago. The one I'd made payments on until it was paid off. The one registered in her name because I'd wanted her to have something that was hers. It's her car, I said. Not my problem anymore. That evening, my phone started buzzing. Texts from email addresses I didn't recognize. Melinda had clearly figured out I'd blocked her numbers. The messages came rapid fire, desperate. Jack, where are you? Where's our stuff? The apartment is gone. There are strangers living there. What did you do? We have nowhere to go. Douglas's sister's place is too small. We're staying in a motel. Answer me. I read each one, felt nothing, and deleted them. The next message came from Lisa's email. Jack, please. This is serious. Mom is freaking out. Gloria is crying. We don't understand what's happening. Where did you put our things? Can we please just talk? I stared at that one longer. Pictured 12-year-old Gloria crying, confused. Pictured 14-year-old Lisa trying to hold it together, trying to be the adult. Then I pictured them at Disney World with Douglas, laughing at character meet and greets, riding Space Mountain, eating Mickey-shaped ice cream bars. All funded by me. All enjoyed without me. While I packed up my life alone in an empty apartment. I deleted that message too. On day 3, Melinda showed up at the logistics center. Security called me from the front desk. "Mr. Garcia, there's a woman here claiming to be your wife. Says it's an emergency. Should I send her back?" "No," I said. "Tell her I no longer work here." "But sir, you're—" "Tell her I quit," I interrupted. "That I gave notice 2 weeks ago and already moved out of state." There was a pause. "Understood, sir. I'll relay the message." That night, I got an email from Melinda's sister, Brenda. Subject line: "You need to fix this." The email was long, accusatory, full of words like abandonment and cruel and those girls looked up to you. She ended with, "I never thought you'd be the kind of man who walks away from children." I read it once, then typed a reply. "Brenda, I spent 7 years being a father to Gloria and Lisa. I was at every school event, every doctor's appointment, every soccer game. I paid for everything while their biological father sent birthday cards twice in 6 years. When he showed up and Melinda decided he should take my place on a vacation I funded, I accepted their choice. I'm not abandoning anyone. They replaced me. I'm just accepting the replacement. Don't contact me again." I hit send, then blocked her too. By the end of week 2, I'd blocked 17 different email addresses and 5 phone numbers. Each message was the same. Desperate. Angry. Confused. Demanding I come back and fix what they'd broken. But I was already gone. I'd rented a small cottage in Savannah, started a new job, opened a new bank account in a new city. The man they were looking for didn't exist anymore. He'd disappeared somewhere between a 5:45 a.m. text message and a Disney World trip he'd never take. Just like Douglas had disappeared 6 years ago. Except I had the dignity to leave without taking their money first. Savannah in August was hot and humid, but it felt like breathing for the first time. The cottage I'd rented sat 3 blocks from the historic district on a quiet street lined with live oaks and Spanish moss. 1 bedroom, a small kitchen, a porch that overlooked a garden the landlord maintained. Rent was $900 a month, utilities included. Less than half what I'd been paying in Miami. The job at Coastal Logistics paid slightly more than my old position, and they'd been desperate enough to hire me with only a phone interview. I started on a Monday, and by Wednesday, I'd fallen into a routine that felt almost foreign in its simplicity. Clock in at 7, clock out at 3:30. No overtime pressure. No guilt about leaving on time. No texts asking when I'd be home because someone needed something. My co-workers were friendly in that easy Southern way. They invited me to lunch. Asked about the Braves game. Talked about their kids and their weekend plans. Nobody knew about Miami. Nobody knew about Melinda or Gloria or Lisa. To them, I was just Jack from Florida, the new guy who kept to himself but did solid work. I started walking every evening after work. River Street to Forsyth Park and back. 5 miles round trip. I'd lost weight without trying, probably from eating simple meals alone instead of takeout for 4 people. My reflection in store windows showed someone leaner, quieter, almost invisible. One Saturday, I bought a used guitar from a pawn shop on Broughton Street. $200 for a beat-up acoustic I hadn't played since college. That night, I sat on my porch and relearned the chords to songs I'd forgotten I loved. My fingers hurt. The sound was rusty. But it was mine. A neighbor, an older black woman named Mrs. Chen, came out to her porch next door while I was playing. "That's nice," she called over. "You just move in?" "About a month ago," I said. "You play well." "Rusty, but well." I laughed. "It's been a while." "Most good things take time to come back," she said, settling into her rocking chair with a glass of sweet tea. "You running from something or toward something?" The question caught me off guard. I set the guitar down. "Both, I think." She nodded like that made perfect sense. "Well, you picked a good city for both. Savannah lets you be whoever you need to be." We sat in comfortable silence after that, the evening settling around us with cricket sounds and distant traffic. I joined a gym 2 weeks later. Not a fancy one like Melinda's Equinox, but a no-frills place with free weights and serious lifters who nodded but didn't make small talk. I went at 5 a.m. before work, found a rhythm in the repetitive motion of lifting heavy things and setting them down. My bank account, the new one Douglas and Melinda didn't know existed, started growing. Without rent on a 2-bedroom apartment, without phone plans for 4 people, without streaming services and gym memberships and grocery bills for a family, my paycheck stretched impossibly far. By the end of month 2, I had $4,000 saved. More than I'd managed to save in the last 2 years combined. I didn't buy much. A new work shirt. Groceries for one. Coffee at the local place instead of making it at home sometimes. The absence of financial drain felt like oxygen. One evening, Mrs. Chen invited me over for dinner. Her husband had passed 3 years earlier, and she liked company, she said. We ate jerk chicken and rice on her screened porch while she told stories about teaching elementary school for 30 years. "You got that look," she said, studying me over her glasses. "That look people get when they're healing from something big. Is it that obvious?" I asked. "Only to someone who's been there." She refilled my glass of lemonade. "Whatever happened, you did the right thing by leaving. I can tell. The wrong thing would have kept you small. You're getting bigger now." I thought about that a lot after dinner. Getting bigger. Not in size, but in space. In possibility. In the simple luxury of living for myself. Back in Miami, paradise was crumbling. I didn't hear about it directly. Instead, the information came in fragments through a coworker named Marcus who'd stayed in touch with someone from my old workplace. He mentioned it casually during lunch one day, not knowing the full story. "Heard something weird through the grapevine," he said, biting into his sandwich. "Some guy from your old job said his cousin knows a woman named Melinda who's been asking around about a Jack Garcia." "That you?" I kept my face neutral. "Might be. Common enough name." "Yeah, maybe." He shrugged and changed the subject. But that night, I created a fake Facebook profile. No picture, no real name. Just enough to search for Melinda's page. It was public. Everything visible. The posts told the story I'd already imagined. 3 weeks after their return, Melinda had posted a vague status: "When people show you who they really are, believe them. Some men make promises they never intend to keep." The comment section filled with supportive emojis and "You okay, girl?" messages from friends who didn't know the real story. 2 weeks after that, single mom life is no joke. Doing everything alone while some people disappear when things get hard. I almost laughed. The irony was so thick it hurt. A week later, a post from Gloria's account, though clearly written by Melinda, missing the people who said they'd always be there but weren't when it mattered. The manipulation was transparent. She was building a narrative where I was the villain, the man who abandoned them, conveniently leaving out the part where she'd replaced me with Douglas and stolen my money. But it was Douglas's absence that interested me most. I scrolled through Melinda's photos. The Disney trip pictures stopped after day 3. No more matching years. No more character meet and greets. The final photo was Melinda and the girls at the hotel pool, all three of them looking tired, forced smiles. No Douglas in any of the later pictures. I switched to Lisa's Instagram. Her account was private, but her profile picture had changed recently. Just her and Gloria. No family photos anymore. Her bio read, "Things change. People leave. We adapt." Through more careful searching, I found Douglas's profile. His last post was from 6 weeks ago, a photo of a beer at some beach bar in Tampa, captioned, "New Beginnings, New City." The location tag confirmed it. Tampa. 2 hours from Miami. He'd left. I closed the laptop and sat in the darkness of my cottage, piecing together what must have happened. Douglas had played hero for maybe 3 weeks. Probably enjoyed the praise, the gratitude, the way Melinda and the girls had looked at him like he'd saved them from something. But fatherhood wasn't a vacation. It was school uniforms and grocery bills and phone plans and car insurance. It was showing up every day, not just for the Instagram-worthy moments. And Douglas had done what Douglas always did. He'd left. Now Melinda was in a cramped extended-stay motel or living with relatives, trying to stretch whatever money she had left. The girls' phones probably still didn't work consistently. The Honda probably needed an oil change she couldn't afford. And the man she'd chosen over me had disappeared the moment being real dad required more than just showing up with a smile. I thought about calling. Saying something. Maybe even gloating. But what was the point? They'd made their choice. They'd believed in a fantasy over the reality that had been feeding them, clothing them, housing them for 7 years. I didn't need to say, "I told you so." Their lives were already saying it for me. Mrs. Chen was on her porch the next evening when I got home from my walk. She waved me over. "You look lighter again," she said, studying my face. "Whatever you let go of today, it must have been heavy." "Just old ghosts," I said. "Making sure they stay buried." She nodded wisely. "Good. The dead should stay dead. Focus on living." I went inside, made dinner for one, and played guitar until my fingers hurt. The past could collapse all it wanted. I wasn't there to catch it anymore. 3 months after the airport text, Melinda found my number. I'd been careful. New phone, new carrier, new city. But Miami wasn't that big, and apparently, someone from my old logistics center still had connections. The call came on a Tuesday evening while I was cooking pasta on my single-burner stove. The number was restricted. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Jack." Her voice was small, fragile. Nothing like the sharp, demanding tone from our last conversation. "Please don't hang up. Please. I need to talk to you." I turned off the stove and sat down at my small kitchen table. "I'm listening." Douglas left. The words came out in a rush, like she'd been holding them in too long. He left 6 weeks ago. Just stopped answering calls. Stopped showing up. He's in Tampa now with some woman he met online. He won't help with anything. The girls are devastated. "We're staying at Brenda's house," she continued. "All 3 of us in her spare bedroom. It's cramped. The girls are sharing an air mattress. I'm working at a call center making $11 an hour. We can barely afford groceries." Still, I said nothing. "Jack, I made a mistake." Her voice cracked. "A terrible mistake. I thought Douglas had changed. I thought the girls deserved to know their father. I didn't realize what I was giving up. I didn't realize what you meant to us until you were gone. What I meant to you," I said slowly, "was a paycheck. A provider. Someone who handled the bills while you figured out your life." "That's not true," she protested weakly. "It is true, Melinda. You proved it at the airport. The moment Douglas showed interest, I became disposable. You didn't discuss it with me. You didn't consider my feelings. You just handed my seat to him and expected me to keep paying for everything from home. Silence on her end. Then, quieter, can we please just talk? Face to face. I can drive to wherever you are. The girls miss you. They ask about you every day. Gloria cries at night. Lisa barely talks anymore. They need you, Jack. They needed their real father, I said. They got him. What happened after that isn't my responsibility. He's not their real father, she said desperately. You are. You were. You were at every soccer game, every school play, every parent-teacher conference. You taught Lisa to drive. You stayed up with Gloria when she had nightmares. You were their dad in every way that mattered. The words might have meant something 3 months ago. Now they just sounded like manipulation. Where was this realization when you gave Douglas my seat on a vacation I paid for? I asked. Where was this understanding when you let him drain $3,000 from our account? Where was this appreciation when the girls called me and asked to talk to their real dad instead of me? They were confused, Melinda said. They're children. They didn't understand what they were saying. Lisa is 14. Gloria is 12. They understood perfectly. And so did you. I stood up and walked to my kitchen window, looking out at Mrs. Chen's porch light next door. You made your choice, Melinda. Now you live with it. Jack, please. She was crying now. Full sobs. I'm begging you. We have nowhere else to turn. I can't do this alone. I need help. The girls need help. We need you. You don't need me, I said. You need my money. There's a difference. That's not fair. You know what's not fair. My voice stayed level, cold. 7 years of being taken for granted. 7 years of being the safety net while you kept one foot out the door waiting for something better. 7 years of raising children who were never legally mine because you said we didn't need the paperwork. You used me, Melinda. And the moment you thought you found an upgrade, you traded me in. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything. We can go to counseling. We can start over. Just please, please come back. I thought about my cottage. My guitar on the porch. My job that didn't demand overtime. My bank account that actually grew instead of drained. My evenings walking along River Street without guilt. My life that was finally, completely mine. I hope you and the girls figure things out, I said. I really do. But you'll do it without me. Goodbye, Melinda. Jack, wait. I hung up. Blocked the number. Turned off my phone completely. Then I finished cooking my pasta, ate dinner alone in comfortable silence, and slept through the night without waking once. 6 months after the airport text, I was sitting on my porch with morning coffee watching the sunrise paint the live oaks gold. The air smelled like jasmine and the distant salt of the Savannah River. My guitar rested against the railing, waiting for evening. My work boots sat by the door, clean and ready for another steady day at Coastal Logistics. Life had become beautifully simple. Predictable in a way that felt like peace instead of monotony. I'd started dating someone. Her name was Simone, a second-grade teacher I'd met at the farmer's market 8 weeks ago. She'd been buying peaches, I'd been buying tomatoes, and we'd both reached for the same jar of local honey. The conversation that followed was easy, unhurried. She knew nothing about Miami. Nothing about Melinda or Gloria or Lisa or Douglas. To her, I was just Jack, the quiet logistics guy who played guitar and liked long walks. We'd been on 5 dates. Coffee. Dinner at a small Italian place. A concert in Forsyth Park. Each time, she'd asked about my life, my interests, my thoughts on small, ordinary things. She never once asked what I could provide for her. Never measured me by what I could pay for. On our fourth date, I told her about the divorce. About the stepdaughters I'd raised and lost. She'd listened without judgment, then said simply, "That must have hurt. But you survived it. That says something about you. Not, you should try to fix it, or, those poor girls, or, don't you feel guilty." Just acknowledgement that I'd endured something difficult and come through it. The relief of being seen without being fixed was staggering. I'd also reconnected with my own family. My cousin Roberto in Jacksonville. My tia Carmen in Tampa. People I'd neglected for 7 years because Melinda's family events always took priority, because there was always something the girls needed, because my time and energy had belonged to everyone except the people who'd known me longest. Roberto had driven up 2 weeks ago. We'd spent the day fishing off Tybee Island, talking about nothing important and everything that mattered. He didn't ask about Melinda. He just said, "You look good, primo. Really good. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." I'd taken up running in addition to my evening walks. Started volunteering at a community center teaching basic guitar to kids on Saturday mornings. Bought a small used bookshelf and filled it with novels I'd meant to read for years. My cottage felt less like a temporary landing spot and more like home. One evening, Mrs. Chen called me over to her porch. She handed me an envelope. "This came to my house by mistake," she said. "Forwarded mail with your name on it." The return address was Miami. Lisa's handwriting. I held the envelope for a long moment, feeling its weight. Mrs. Chen watched me with knowing eyes. "You don't have to open it," she said gently. "The past doesn't get to demand your present." But I did open it. That night, alone in my cottage, I slid my finger under the seal and pulled out 2 pages of notebook paper covered in Lisa's careful cursive. She apologized. For everything. For not speaking up at the airport. For going along with her mother's plan. For calling Douglas her real dad when I'd been the one raising her. She wrote about how hard things were now. How much Gloria missed me. How Melinda worked long hours and came home exhausted. How they'd learned too late what they'd taken for granted. She ended with, "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I hope someday you'll let me explain in person. I hope someday you'll let me say thank you for everything you did. I'm sorry, Jack. For all of it. Love, Lisa." I read the letter twice. Felt the old ache, the old love, the old instinct to fix things and make everyone okay. Then I carefully folded it, placed it in my desk drawer, and closed it. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe someday I'd be ready to hear more. But not today. Not yet. Today, I had a life to live. A life that was mine. A life where I was valued for who I was, not what I could provide. I walked down to River Street as the sun set, watched the boats drift past, felt the warm evening air on my skin. Somewhere in Miami, Melinda was figuring out how to survive without a safety net. Douglas was in Tampa pretending to be someone new. Gloria and Lisa were learning hard lessons about choices and consequences. But I wasn't their lesson to learn from anymore. I wasn't their cautionary tale or their redemption arc. I was just Jack Garcia, 32 years old, living in Savannah, playing guitar on warm evenings and dating a woman who saw me as enough exactly as I was. For the first time in 7 years, I felt completely, entirely free. With that we come to the end of this story, but then here is the truth nobody wants to hear. Most people will watch this entire story, feel something deep, maybe even see themselves in Jack's pain, and then they'll scroll away without doing anything. They'll take the lesson, feel the emotion, and give nothing back. If that's you, I can't stop you. But I'm building something here. I'm a small channel sharing real stories that actually matter, stories about people who found the courage to choose themselves. Your like costs you 1 second, your subscription costs you nothing. Your comment about what you do in Jack's situation might be the thing that helps someone else find their strength. I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm asking you to be the kind of person who supports something they value. If this story touched you and you leave without engaging, just know, you're exactly like the people who took from Jack and gave nothing back. Don't be that person. Hit like. Subscribe. Comment. Prove you're different.